Hello, my friend. Welcome back. Today I want to take you somewhere different, not to the past, not to your childhood, not even to what happened yesterday. Today we're walking into the future, but we're not just imagining it. We're going to talk to it. In English, yes. Today you'll learn to speak to your future self, in a language you're still growing, with a voice you're still discovering. And I promise you this, the one person who needs to hear your English the most is the person you are becoming. So stay with me. This is going to change how you think, how you speak, and how you see yourself. Let's begin. There's a mirror in the mind. Every morning, we speak to ourselves. Sometimes out loud, sometimes only in thought. But those thoughts, they are a form of conversation. And the words we choose, they matter. What if, instead of only saying, "I can't do this," or "My English is not good enough," you said something else? What if, every day, you looked into your own eyes and spoke English to the version of you that hasn't arrived yet? The version of you who's already confident, the one who already speaks with courage, the one who understands, the one who helps others with their words, the one who finally made it. You may not feel like that person today, but that person is real. That person is waiting. That person is listening. So speak. What would you say if your future self was sitting across from you today? What would you say? Would you ask her questions? Would you tell him your dreams? Would you say, "Please don't give up"? Would you say, "I'm proud of how far we've come"? In this episode, I want you to learn one of the most powerful ways to practice English and to heal your heart at the same time. Speak to your future self, not to impress, not to pass a test, not to be fluent, but to connect. Because language is not just for talking. It's for dreaming. It's for planting hope. It's for holding your hand when no one else does. One man, one notebook, one message. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who spoke very little English. He worked in a restaurant kitchen. Every day. He cleaned the dishes, swept the floor, and took out the trash. But every night, after his shift ended, he sat behind the building on a small plastic chair with a notebook in his lap. And he wrote letters. To himself. Not the version of himself who worked long hours, but the version of himself who was already successful, already speaking English, already living a different life. His letters began like this: "Dear me in 5 years. Dear me in a better place. Dear me. If you are happy, I'm happy too." And he wrote in English. Bad English, broken English, imperfect English. But it was enough. Because he wasn't writing for grammar. He was writing for the connection. And one day, it happened. A manager saw him sitting out back, saw the notebook, asked what he was doing. He said, "Just writing, to my future." The manager smiled and said, "Can you write a letter for our restaurant too? We need a newsletter." That small letter, it changed his life, because it showed his heart, and that is the power of speaking to your future self. This is how your English grows. When you speak to your future self, you are doing something brave. You're not only practicing English, you are building trust. You are choosing hope. You are seeing yourself as someone worth listening to. And when you speak from the heart, in any language, the words come easier, because they are real. So here's your practice for today. After this episode ends, find a quiet space. Look into a mirror and speak, in English, to the person you are becoming. Say things like, "I know you're scared sometimes, but we're going to make it. Your voice matters. We didn't come this far just to stop now. I believe in you, even on the hard days. Your grammar doesn't have to be perfect. Your pronunciation doesn't have to shine. What matters is your intention. English is not just for the world, it's for you. Maybe you started learning English because you wanted a better job, or to travel, or to help your children. But now, you realize it's something more. It's a way to rebuild yourself, to heal what you didn't know was broken, to tell the truth, finally. Speaking to your future self is not just a language activity. It's a spiritual act. It's a promise. And every time you speak with love to the person you are becoming, you get one step closer, not to fluency, but to freedom. Let me pause here. If you feel something in your heart right now, a small shift, a quiet yes, you're ready to keep going, to speak kindly, to walk softly, to grow loudly, in English, in your voice, in your time. Do you know what's really powerful? It's not when someone else believes in you. It's when you believe in you. And speaking to your future self is one of the deepest ways to do that. You're not waiting for someone to tell you, "Good job, keep going," or "You can do this." You're saying it to yourself, in a language you once thought was impossible, and that is something no one can take away. Letters no one else will read. Some of the most beautiful words ever written were never meant for anyone else. They were letters to God, to the sky, to a lost parent, to a future child, or to the self. You don't have to be a writer to write. You don't need to be a speaker to speak. You just need one moment of honesty. Here's one small exercise. Take a piece of paper. At the top, write, "Dear future me," and then, just let your heart speak. Write about your dreams, your fears, the things you hope will change, the things you pray will stay the same, and write in English, even if it's slow, even if you need to look up words, even if you have to whisper it out loud and write what you hear. This is not homework. This is home. This is you coming back to yourself. A young girl with a dream too big for her village. Let me tell you another story. There was a girl who lived in a small village. No internet, no TV. No one around her spoke English. But she had a dream. To become a nurse. Not just a local one. She wanted to work in a hospital where the signs were all in English, where the patients came from different countries, and where she could understand every word the doctor said. People laughed. "You don't even have a dictionary," they said. "You don't even know the alphabet." But she had one thing they didn't. She had a future self in her mind who already wore that white coat, who already understood those medical words, who already spoke English like it was second nature. So, she started small. She wrote to that version of herself, every Sunday, "Dear me, the nurse." And in broken English, she said, "I'm trying. I study today." One word, heartbeat. I love this word. I imagine patient says, "Thank you, nurse." I want that moment. She didn't wait for someone to teach her. She taught herself by writing to the version of her that already existed inside her mind. Years passed. She got a scholarship. She moved to a bigger city. She wore the coat. She used the word heartbeat every day. And the moment she heard a patient say, "Thank you, nurse," she cried in the hallway. Because that version of herself, the one she wrote letters to, was no longer in the future. She had arrived. English is the key. But you are the lock. You already have the door. It's your life. It's your purpose. Your future. Your next step. English is just the key, and the reason it fits is because it's not just for travel, not just for school, not just for business. It's for unlocking the conversations you want to have with yourself. And I'm telling you now, the more you speak to your future self in English, the more confident you become in your present self. Why? Because it shows you something. It shows that you already believe you're going somewhere, that your story isn't finished, that your voice has more pages to write. Practice. Speak it out loud. Here's your second practice. When you wake up tomorrow, before you check your phone, before you speak to anyone else, say one sentence to your future self in English. Something like, "You did your best, and I'm proud of you. I know today will be hard, but I've seen you do harder. You're not alone. I'm always with you. We're learning. We're growing. We're not quitting. Don't worry about being perfect. Just keep showing up. Do this every day. Even if it feels strange, even if your voice shakes, even if the grammar is wrong, it will become your ritual, your anchor, your quiet moment of power." Let me pause again. You are not just learning a language. You're learning how to be kind to yourself. That's not something they teach in school, but it's something you're learning here, right now. And I hope you never forget it. There is something beautiful about speaking to your future self, because every time you do it, you are quietly telling your heart, "I'm not staying where I am. I'm growing." Most people wait. They wait to feel better. Wait for the right moment. Wait until their English is perfect. Wait until life becomes easier. But you're choosing to speak now. To the version of you that's just one brave sentence away. A note under the pillow. There was a young boy who hated school. Every day he walked slowly. Every day he sat in the back. Every day he tried not to be seen. He didn't believe he was smart. He didn't believe he would ever learn English. And honestly, he didn't care anymore. But his older sister did. She had already finished school. She worked in a small hotel. And every night before bed, she would slip a folded piece of paper under his pillow. Each one had a short message in English, like, "You are smart, even if you don't see it. Don't give up on your brain. It's stronger than you think. Dear future you, one day you'll speak English with confidence." He didn't reply. He didn't say thank you, but he kept every single note. Years later, when he became a teacher, he took those notes out and read them to his students. And he said, "These letters were to my future self. I didn't understand them when I was young, but now I do. So I'm giving them to you." That's the power of planting hope, even when it doesn't grow right away. Maybe today you feel stuck. You want to move forward, but your tongue feels heavy. You want to speak clearly, but the words don't come. That's okay. You're not stuck. You're just still becoming. Every single time you say one kind sentence to yourself, especially in English, you are proving something to your mind. You're proving that you don't have to be fluent to be kind. You don't have to be perfect to be powerful. And your future self is listening. The mirror method, I want to share a method that works. Simple, free, but deeply healing. It's called the mirror method. Every morning, stand in front of a mirror. Look into your own eyes and say, in English, one sentence to your future self. Don't read from a book. Don't memorize a script. Just speak from the heart. Start with something like, "Good morning, future me. We're doing our best and that's enough. You're going to be proud of what we did today. Even if no one sees our progress, I do." It might feel strange, but the more you do it, the more natural it becomes, because it's not about the mirror, it's about the message. And the most powerful messages in life are the ones you whisper to yourself when no one is around, a future self in a hospital bed. There was an old man who had lost the ability to speak. A stroke had taken his voice. Doctors said it might never return, but he didn't believe that. So, every night he closed his eyes and imagined himself 5 years in the future, sitting with his grandson, reading stories, speaking softly. He couldn't say the words out loud, but he whispered them inside his mind. In English. Why English? Because it was the language his grandson was learning, and he didn't want to be left behind. Months passed. His speech came back, slow, broken, but real, and the first sentence he said, after months of silence, was this: "Hello, my future boy. Grandpa is here." He had been practicing not with his voice, but with his vision. You can do the same. Even if your words are quiet, your heart is speaking loudly. Even if your English is simple, your dreams are not. Even if your journey feels long, your future is waiting with open arms. So today, say something to your future self. Say it in the best English you have, because the voice you use today will become the courage you feel tomorrow. Another way to practice. Here's another exercise. It's called the message from tomorrow. Write a short letter from your future self to your present self. Yes, flip the direction. Imagine your future self already made it, already achieved something big, already living in confidence, and now she's writing back to you. Her message might sound like this: "Hey, I'm so proud of you. You don't even know how strong you are. All those times you practiced speaking English alone, they worked. All the times you wanted to quit, but didn't. That's why I'm here now. Keep going. Don't worry about the speed. You're becoming someone amazing." You don't have to be a writer to do this. Just be honest. Let your future self thank you for not giving up today. Let me pause here again. You're not just listening to a podcast. You're shaping your future voice. You're creating the habit of speaking with kindness, even when no one's watching. That is strength. That is real learning. That is transformation. And I'm honored to walk this road with you. Let's stop for a moment. Take a breath. Now imagine this. Your life is a book, a long one, full of quiet pages and loud chapters. Maybe some pages are hard to read. Maybe some are full of mistakes. Maybe there are even pages you wish you could rip out. But here's the truth. You're still holding the pen. The book is not finished, and the words you speak to your future self are like whispers from the next chapter. Every time you say, "I will learn this, I will improve, I will speak with confidence," you are writing the next scene in your story. And it's beautiful. Because even though the grammar might not be perfect, the message is powerful. She spoke to herself in the dark. There was a woman who worked as a cleaner in a hotel. She couldn't read well. She didn't finish school. And she never studied English before. But one day she cleaned a guest room and found a book left behind on the table. It was a beginner's English phrase book. She didn't steal it. She didn't ask anyone for help. She just started reading. Slowly. Every night after work. Under her blanket, with a small flashlight. But here's the most important part. She didn't just read the sentences. She spoke them, softly, to herself, as if she were already someone else. She said, "Can I help you? This way, please. Have a good stay." And she imagined her future self, not as a cleaner, but as a receptionist, not silent, but speaking. After a year, she applied for the job. And when they asked, "Do you speak English?" she said softly, "Not perfect, but I've been practicing with my future." She got the job because she didn't wait for the future to find her. She spoke to it, and it heard her. You don't need permission to dream. No one can give you permission to grow. Not your teacher, not your parents, not your boss, only you. So if you've been waiting for a sign to start speaking English, this is it. Don't wait to be fluent. Don't wait to sound like someone on YouTube. Speak now, broken, honest, hopeful, because your future self is not fluent. She's free. A daily ritual that changed his life. There was a man who worked in a factory. Every lunch break, while his co-workers scrolled on their phones, he took out a tiny notebook. He opened it to the first page, and every day he wrote one sentence to his future self. In English. Simple sentences. I am trying today. Don't forget where we started. You are strong. I am learning that now. We'll laugh at this one day. It became a habit, a kind one. After 6 months, something happened. He was asked to help train a new worker from another country. The new worker didn't speak the local language, but he spoke English. Not well, not clearly, but enough. And this man, the one who wrote one sentence a day, found himself replying with ease, because his words were already familiar. Not perfect, but familiar. Why? Because he'd been practicing them in letters to his future self. For months, you have to believe it before you see it. So many people say, "I'll believe in myself when I see results." But that's not how real change works. You have to speak it before you become it. You have to believe it before it shows up. Speaking to your future self in English is not just about language. It's about identity. You are not trying to be someone else. You are returning to the person you were always meant to be. And she speaks gently. And he speaks bravely. And they speak English. Not because they were born with it, but because they didn't stop. Try this before bed tonight, before you go to sleep. Do one simple thing. Whisper one message in English to your future self. It can be anything. You did enough today. We're getting better. I see your strength already. I'm learning for you. I love you. Say it softly. Say it slowly. And then sleep. That small sentence might stay in your heart longer than you think, because words carry energy, and your voice has weight, even in a whisper, even in a dream. Let's pause for now. You've heard a lot, but more importantly, you felt something. That's what matters. Not the grammar, not the speed, not the perfect pronunciation. What matters is that you are beginning to believe in your voice, and I promise you, that belief is where fluency begins. Let's stop pretending there's a finish line. There isn't. No one gets a medal for being fluent. No one wakes up and says, "Today I have no more mistakes." That's not how language works. And that's not how life works either. But here's the truth. You are not behind. Even if your English is slow, even if your journey started late, even if others seem faster, louder, better, you are becoming. And every word you speak to your future self is proof. The boy who was always last. There was a boy who always came last in English class. He struggled with writing. He didn't understand grammar. He hated speaking in front of the class. And one day, after failing another test, his teacher gave back his paper and said, "Maybe English is just not your thing." He went home, sat alone, didn't cry, just sat there. But later that night, he took a blank sheet of paper and wrote something different. He wrote a message to the version of him that nobody could see. He wrote, "Dear future me, I know you passed. I know you can speak clearly. I know you're helping other students like me. I know it feels good now. I don't feel it yet, but I believe you do. I'll meet you there." He read it every day, and slowly, something changed. Not his grades, not right away, but his voice. Because when no one believed in him, he spoke belief into his own future. And years later, he didn't just speak English. He taught it, because he didn't give up on the boy who always came last. Your future self is already cheering for you. We often think our past defines us. The mistakes, the regrets, the things we didn't do. But what if the future is stronger? What if your future self is already clapping for you, already smiling at your efforts, already thankful that you didn't stop here? That's why you must speak to them, not just once, not just on good days, but every day. Because your future self is not someone far away. They are just you. After courage, a woman with a secret dream. There was a woman who worked in a quiet office. She did data entry. Same thing, every day. But in her heart, she had a dream. She wanted to start a podcast, a small one, to teach people how to stay calm during stressful times. But there was a problem. She had never spoken English in public. Her voice trembled. Her accent was strong. Her fear was louder than her dream. Until one evening, she recorded something. Not for anyone else, just for herself. She turned on the recorder and said, "Hello, this is my future voice. I'm not ready yet, but I'm here. I'm coming. One day, I'll speak and I hope someone hears me." She saved it, named the file Episode 0, and forgot about it. A year later, after slowly building her confidence, after joining speaking groups, after talking to herself in English daily, she launched her podcast, and the name? Future Voice. Because she never forgot who she was speaking to first. You don't need the world's approval to begin. Start now. Start small. Speak in your room. Speak in the kitchen. Speak while walking. Speak before sleep. Speak to the person you're becoming. Speak to the person you're becoming. Say, "I'm still here." I'm not giving up. I believe in your future joy. I'm building something, even when no one sees it. Don't wait for applause. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait until you feel ready, because readiness is not a door. It's a direction, and you're already walking toward it. Try this. Record your promise. Here's your next practice. Find a quiet place. Turn on your phone's voice recorder and speak to your future self. Say your name. Say today's date. Say where you are in life right now. Then speak your promise. Example. Hi. Today is May 13th. I'm still nervous speaking English, but I'm trying. I'm learning. And I promise, no matter how long it takes, I will keep speaking. I believe in you. Please don't forget that we started with love. You don't need to post it. You don't need to share it. Just save it. Name it. Promise to my future self. And one day, you'll listen again and smile. Because you kept your word. Let me pause here. If you've listened to this far, you've already proven something powerful. You don't just want to learn English, you want to grow through it. And that is what makes you unstoppable. You don't need a new life. You need a new way to speak about the one you already have. And when you speak to your future self in English, you begin to rewrite the story. Not with fiction, but with faith. Because it's not just what you say that changes things. It's how you say it, and who you say it to, especially when that person is you. The girl who grew up in silence. There was a girl who rarely spoke. Not because she didn't want to, but because every time she tried, people laughed. She had a stutter, and her voice trembled. So she stopped trying. For years, she sat quietly in class. Never answered, never raised her hand, never read aloud. But one day, in the school library, she found a thin English storybook with pictures. She didn't understand every word. She didn't know how to pronounce the sentences, but she read it, alone, page by page, slowly, whispering each word under her breath, and something unexpected happened. She didn't stutter when she read to herself, so she kept going. Every day, she returned to that library. Every day she read more English aloud, to herself, to her future self. And one day, she recorded herself speaking. She didn't post it. She didn't show anyone. She just kept it as proof that she had a voice. Years later, she became a reading coach. And her method? Read to your future self. Because she knew it wasn't about volume. It was about value. Every voice matters. Especially yours. You don't need to sound like a native speaker. You don't need a big audience. You don't even need to be understood by the world right now. You just need to keep speaking, to keep practicing, to keep showing up for yourself. Every word you speak in English is a small seed of courage, and those seeds grow silently, quietly, until one day they bloom, and your future self will thank you for planting them. A message from the train station. There was a man who worked at a train station. He didn't do much talking, mostly checked tickets, mostly waved people through. But he had a dream, to be a travel guide. He wanted to welcome tourists, show them his city, speak in English, share stories. But he didn't believe it would ever happen, until one day he started a small ritual. Every evening when his shift ended, he took out his phone, walked to the empty platform, and recorded a 1-minute welcome message, like a tour guide. Hello and welcome. Today, we're visiting the old bridge. Did you know this train line was built in... He didn't post the videos. He didn't send them to anyone. He just saved them in a folder called Future Guide. And he kept going, 1 minute a day, for 6 months. Until one day, a group of foreign visitors arrived. The regular guide was sick. No one else could speak English. So they turned to him, and he said, "I think I can try." He guided them through the city, told the stories he had practiced, used the same words he spoke to his future self, and at the end of the tour, one tourist said, "You were born for this." He smiled, because he wasn't born for it. He became it, one quiet message at a time. Make your own Future Guide folder. Try this. Start a folder on your phone. Call it anything. Future Me, Voice Journal, or English Dreams. And every few days record a short message to your future self, a thank you, a dream, a promise, a practice sentence. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be long, but make it yours. Because when you speak into that folder, you are speaking into your future. And one day, when you listen again, you won't just hear the words, you'll hear the growth. Your voice can carry you home. There is one truth that stays the same. No matter your background, your accent, your story, your voice matters. And when you speak to your future self, you are not only practicing English, you are coming home to yourself. You are reminding the person in the mirror that she is still growing, that he is still healing, that your voice is not small, it's just waiting for a safe place to grow. And your future self, the one you are becoming, is that place. Let's pause here again. If you've made it this far, you're not just a listener. You're a builder, a learner, a speaker, a dreamer. And your English is not your weakness. It's your path. Let's keep walking it together. When doubt speaks louder than dreams, there are days when your mind is quiet and your heart speaks softly, but there are other days when everything inside you shouts, "You're too late. You'll never get better. Why try if you'll just fail again?" That voice, the voice of doubt, can feel louder than any teacher, any coach, any guide. But here's something I want you to remember. You don't have to silence that voice. You just have to answer it with a new one. And that voice comes from your future self. The man who failed 4 times. There was a man who wanted to pass the IELTS test. He tried. Once, failed, tried again, failed again. His friends passed. His classmates moved on. He stayed behind. 4th time, still failed. He told himself, maybe I'm not smart enough. But then he did something different. Instead of signing up for another course, instead of buying another grammar book, he wrote one sentence on his bathroom mirror. "You passed. I'm proud of you." And every morning he read it aloud to his future self. He didn't believe it at first, but he kept reading it, kept saying it, kept visualizing it. 6 months later, he passed. And do you know what he did after he got his score? He didn't celebrate with a party. He didn't shout on social media. He went home, stood in front of the mirror, and whispered to the reflection, "I knew you could." Your future self already knows the way. You don't have to know everything right now. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't even need confidence. You just need a connection with the version of you who didn't give up. Because that version, they already exist. They've already learned. They've already smiled in relief. And they're calling back to you, telling you, come, it's safe here. Keep going. Talk to your reflection, even on the hard days. Here's a simple challenge. The next time you feel stuck, tired, or frustrated, go to a mirror, look into your own eyes, and say just one sentence. We're still on the journey. This is not the end. You've made it through worse. I believe in the person you're becoming. It doesn't matter if your English is slow. It doesn't matter if your heart is heavy. What matters is that you keep speaking to yourself with kindness, because the world doesn't always give that to us, but we can give it to ourselves. The shy girl who never said a word. In a small classroom, there was a girl who never spoke. She was always present, always listening, but silent. She had ideas, but they stayed in her notebook. She knew the answers. But she never raised her hand. One day the teacher gave a special assignment. Write a speech to your future self. Read it to the class. Everyone groaned. But this girl, she felt something. That night, she wrote her speech in English. She didn't ask for help. She didn't check the grammar. She just wrote. And when it was her turn to speak, she stood up, hands shaking, voice soft, and said, "Dear future me, I don't know if you'll ever be brave, but I hope you remember that we tried. Even this, speaking now, is the beginning of you." The class was silent, and her teacher cried, because sometimes a whisper to your future self is stronger than a scream to the world. Your future self needs your voice, not your perfection. Let's stop here and be honest. You might make mistakes. You might forget words. You might feel silly sometimes, but none of that stops you from speaking to the person you want to be. So say it. Say it with your accent. Say it with your hesitation. Say it with your full heart. Because that's where growth begins. Not from grammar, but from courage. Practice. Build a future self phrase. Bank, try this today. Take a small notebook or your phone and create a list of English phrases you want to say to your future self. Start with these. I'm learning, not failing. This time I'll be gentle with myself. Mistakes mean I'm trying. I trust the process. I see progress, even if others don't. You're becoming who we dreamed of. Add to this list every day, one sentence at a time, and each time you write or say one aloud, you are giving your future self a gift, a voice, a vision, a promise. Let's pause here again. If you're still listening, I hope you know how special that is, because showing up for your own voice, even when it shakes, even when it's small, is an act of quiet power. You are becoming someone who speaks with love, and that will take you further than any textbook ever could. Speak forward to heal. Backward. Most people carry silent pain, words they never said, dreams they let go, moments they wish they could go back and fix. And when we start speaking to our future selves, something gentle happens. We don't just grow forward, we also begin to heal backward. Because when you speak with kindness today, you give your younger self something they never had before. Hope, a letter to her future daughter. There was a woman who had always struggled with English. She tried many times, in school, in work, in courses, but it never stuck. She gave up for a while, but when she became pregnant with her first child, she made a decision. She would start again, not for herself, but for her daughter. She imagined her baby, now just a bump in her belly, speaking English with confidence one day, and she wanted to be part of that future. So she began writing letters, not in her native language, but in English. She wrote, "Dear my little girl, I want you to be brave. And I will try too. I am learning again, not because I must, but because I want to walk beside you." She wrote one letter every week, practiced reading it out loud, spoke into her phone quietly at night. And with each word, she wasn't just preparing for her daughter's future. She was rewriting her own story. The girl who once gave up now walked forward, hand in hand with her future child. This is how speaking forward heals you. When you speak to your future self, you are not pretending. You are practicing, believing, repairing. And you're not just saying, "I hope one day I'll be strong." You're saying, "I already have the strength. I just haven't seen it all yet. It's already inside you." Your voice is not something you borrow. It's something you uncover. And the more you speak forward, the more pieces of your past begin to soften. A man who never forgave himself. There was a man in his 60s who had always wanted to learn English. But life got busy. Money was tight. Work was hard. So he never started. And then, when he retired, he said, "It's too late for me. I missed my chance." But his granddaughter didn't think so. One day she showed him how to open the voice recorder on his phone and said, "Say something to your future self. Just try." He laughed, but that night he sat in his room alone and whispered, "Hello, I know you feel behind, but I also know you're still here. So maybe, just maybe, it's not too late." That was his first sentence. The next day he recorded another, then another. And after 2 months he looked into the mirror and said in English, "I forgive you. You did what you could, and you're doing your best now." That sentence, just one line, brought him peace he had waited 40 years to feel, not because he studied hard, not because he reached fluency, but because he finally let his voice catch up to his heart. You can do the same even if you feel behind, even if you've made mistakes, even if the past feels heavy. Your future self is not asking for perfection. She's asking for presence. He's asking you to show up with whatever words you have, and if those words are in English, spoken softly from the heart, that's enough. Practice, a letter of forgiveness. Here's a gentle practice for today. Take a few minutes and write a letter to your younger self, or your past self, or the version of you who once gave up. Write it in simple English, even broken English, even just a few lines. Try something like this. "Dear past me, I'm sorry we were so hard on ourselves. I know you were tired. I know you didn't have help. But I'm here now. We're still trying, and that means you didn't fail." Then, once you've written it, write a reply. A reply from your future self to the current you. Thank you for not giving up. I know you were scared, but I'm proud, because this version of me only exists because of you. This small practice, just 2 letters, can change everything. because it connects your past, present, and future with one golden thread. Your voice, the golden bridge. Imagine this. Your past self is standing on one cliff. Your future self is on another. And between them is a deep space of fear, doubt, and silence. But your present self, the one listening now, has a gift. Your voice can build the bridge, one word at a time, one phrase at a time. You are not lost. You are building your way forward. Let's pause gently. Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe, and whisper something to yourself. Now, in the best English you can. Just one sentence. I'm still here. I'm ready to grow. I forgive myself. I love the person I'm becoming. That's how healing starts. That's how growth sounds. That's how your voice begins to shine. It's never too late to begin again. There's a quiet lie that many people carry. I missed my chance. Maybe you've said it too. Maybe you've looked at your age, your job, your family, your broken grammar, your forgotten dreams, and told yourself, it's too late. But what if I told you this? The future doesn't check your passport. It doesn't ask how old you are. It doesn't care when you start. It only asks one thing. Are you willing to speak now? The retired bus driver with a dream. There was a man in his 70s. He had worked as a bus driver for 40 years. Same route, same uniform, same daily rhythm. But deep down, he had a secret dream. To visit New Zealand, to walk in the green hills, to see the ocean cliffs, to speak to locals in English. He didn't talk about it. He was shy. His English was almost zero. But one day, after retirement, his granddaughter gave him a gift, a small voice recorder with one button. She said, "Just press it and speak. Imagine you're already there." He tried, nervously. His first recording. "Hello, my name, I am from, I want go to sea." He laughed at himself, but he pressed save. The next day, he recorded again. "Hello, my name is Kim. I am a visitor. Thank you for your kindness. I love the air here. It smells like trees and sea." He wasn't in New Zealand. Not yet. But he was already there. In his imagination, in his voice, in his hope. 2 years later, he made the trip, and on his last day there, he sat on a bench, pressed record, and said, "Hello, my future self. We did it. You didn't give up. And I'm proud of you." That one message was the voice of victory. Future voice anchoring. A simple but powerful technique. Let me teach you something now. It's called future voice anchoring. Here's how it works. Choose a place you'd like to be in the future. It can be real or imaginary. A classroom, a cafe, a new country, a stage, even a park bench. Imagine your future self there. What do you see? What do you hear? What is your future self doing, saying, wearing, feeling? Now speak. Record or say aloud a message from that place. In English. Even if your words are broken, let them be yours. Example. Hi. I'm sitting in my first English class in Canada. I'm nervous but excited. The teacher smiled at me. I introduced myself. I said, "My name is..." And I didn't freeze. I did it. You're not pretending. You're anchoring. You're giving your brain and body a taste of what success feels like, and that feeling creates momentum. Use your phone like a time machine. You carry a powerful tool with you every day, your phone. Use it as a time machine. Record short messages to your future self. 1 minute, 2 minutes, no pressure. Speak from the heart. I hope you are healthy. I hope you laugh more. I hope you remember how hard we worked for this. Then save them. Create a playlist. Call it Future Me. Listen to it when you feel lost, or when you need to remember why you started. A woman who found her voice through a garden. There was a woman who had lived through war, through heartbreak, through silence. She never thought of herself as someone who could speak well, not in her own language, and definitely not in English. But after moving to a quiet countryside, she began tending a small garden. And while planting seeds, she would talk softly, to herself, to the sky, to the future. One day, she decided to record her garden thoughts in English. Today, I plant hope. The tomatoes are strong like my spirit. Tomorrow I will smile again. These small sentences, spoken in nature, full of breath and heart, became her therapy. Years later, she played those recordings for her granddaughter who was learning English, and the granddaughter said, "Grandma, your voice is like a poem." She didn't teach grammar. She didn't teach vocabulary. She taught something deeper. Voice grows where love is planted. Practice. Your future self audio series. Try this. Create a short audio series called Letters to My Future Me. You don't need fancy equipment, just your phone. Each message can follow this flow. Say today's date. Say where you are emotionally. Say one dream. Say one promise. End with, "This is for you, future me." Do this once a week. You'll begin to see your own growth in the sound of your voice. It's not about how perfect it sounds. It's about how true it feels. Your voice is your bridge. You don't need more approval. You don't need a perfect accent. You don't need to wait for the right moment. You just need this. One quiet space. One deep breath. One sentence from the heart. That's all it takes to begin building a bridge to your future self. And with every word, you take one step closer to becoming who you were always meant to be. Who are you becoming? Let's stop chasing fluency for a moment. Let's ask something deeper. Who are you becoming as you speak English? Not just the words, not just the accent, but the identity underneath it all. When you speak to your future self, you're not only growing your vocabulary, you're growing your vision. You're shaping your identity. You're asking yourself, what kind of person do I want to be? And every answer you give in English, no matter how slow or broken, is a step toward becoming that person. A boy who whispered confidence. There was a boy who always looked down when he spoke. People said he was shy, but the truth was, he didn't believe his words mattered, especially not in English. But one day, his older brother gave him a challenge. Every night, before you sleep, say one brave thing in English. He didn't want to. He thought it was silly, but he did it anyway. The first night, he whispered, "I want to be strong." Second night, "I want to help someone." Third night, "One day, I'll speak clearly." He kept going, every night, for 3 months. He didn't notice it right away, but his teacher did. So did his classmates. He started raising his hand, started reading aloud, started helping others. Not because his grammar improved, but because his confidence did. That's what one brave sentence a day can do. Your voice builds who you are. It's easy to think that English learning is about study, about memorization, about rules. But the real change happens when you begin to see yourself differently. Speaking to your future self helps you do that. You stop saying, "I'm bad at this. My English is terrible. No one understands me." And you start saying, "I'm improving. I'm learning every day. I have something to say." That shift is what transforms you. A woman who built a morning ritual. There was a woman who worked 2 jobs, tired, busy, no time for English classes, no time for tutors, but she had 5 minutes in the morning, right before sunrise, right before her kids woke up. She used that time to make tea, sit quietly, and record one voice message to her future self. Each one began the same. "Good morning, future me. I hope you're smiling today." She didn't care about perfection. She didn't check her grammar. She just spoke. Sometimes she cried while speaking. Sometimes she laughed. Sometimes she said nothing more than, "I miss you. I'm tired, but I believe in you." After 6 months, she listened to her first recording again, and her eyes filled with tears. Not because her English was perfect, but because she could hear how much she had grown. Create a ritual, not a routine. Let me tell you something important. Fluency doesn't come from stress. It comes from ritual, from rhythm, from choosing to speak, not because you must, but because it heals you. So create a speaking ritual, simple, gentle, yours. Here are some ways to begin. Light a candle, sit alone, and speak one sentence to your future self. Walk in nature and talk out loud about your dreams. After a long day, whisper a thank you to the version of you who didn't quit. Speak one new hope before sleep. This is not homework. It's heart work. The mirror, the notebook, the voice. Let's go back to 3 tools we've already talked about, but now with deeper meaning. The mirror, where you see your present self and speak with hope to your future. The notebook, where your thoughts become visible, where your quiet dreams find a home. The voice recorder, where your journey is captured, where fear slowly becomes freedom. These are your sacred tools. Use them daily, use them honestly, use them with love, because your future self is not waiting for a perfect version of you. They're waiting for this version, the one who tries, the one who dares, the one who speaks with soul. Practice. Morning English. Mantra, here's something to try tomorrow. When you wake up, sit for just 1 minute and say these words slowly in English. I am enough, just as I am. I am growing. Even when it feels slow, my voice is getting stronger. I will speak with courage today. Dear future me, thank you for not giving up on us. You can say them aloud. You can write them down. You can record them, but say them with love. This is how fluency really begins, not with tests, but with truth. Let's pause here. You're not just learning English. You're building a relationship with the person you're becoming. And that relationship, kind, gentle, honest, will carry you further than any textbook ever could. Emotional. Fluency is real fluency. Let's take a breath together, because what I'm about to say might surprise you. Fluency is not just about speed, or grammar, or big vocabulary. Real fluency, the kind that changes lives, is about something else. It's about emotional connection. It's about your ability to say what matters most in the moments that matter most. It's the ability to tell someone you're scared, to say you're proud, to ask for help, to whisper, "I'm still trying." If you can do that, in any language, you are already fluent in what matters. The quiet man with a full heart. There was a man who worked at a bookstore. He didn't speak much, especially not in English, but every evening before the shop closed, he would sit behind the counter, take out a small notebook, and write a message to his future self. One day, a regular customer, a foreign woman, forgot her umbrella. He ran out to return it. When he gave it to her, she said in English, "Thank you." That was very kind. And for the first time, he replied in English, "You're welcome. I hope your day is better now." His voice shook. His face turned red. But he said it. Later that night, he wrote in his notebook, "I did it. Not perfectly, but I was kind." In English, that was his fluency. Not fast, not fancy, but real, and real is always enough. Fluency doesn't mean fancy. It means free. We live in a world where everything is measured. Speed, accuracy, test scores. But the heart doesn't care about that. The heart listens for honesty, for courage, for truth. So if you ever feel like your English isn't good enough, stop and ask yourself this: can I express my feelings? Can I say thank you? Can I offer comfort to someone hurting? Can I speak gently to myself? If yes, then you are already walking in the direction of real fluency. Because real fluency means real connection. The woman who spoke to the stars, there was a woman who had lost her partner. Grief had taken her voice. She didn't speak much anymore. But one night, while looking at the sky, she decided to try something new. She took out her phone and whispered in English, "Hello. I miss you. I wish I said more. I hope you hear me now." She didn't post it. She didn't translate it. She just saved it and called the file Future Peace. That one recording became the start of something new. Every night, she recorded one more message, not to anyone around her, but to her future self. You're still here. You're healing. You're finding your voice again. And little by little, her heart softened. That's the power of speaking forward. Even when your heart feels backward, you don't need motivation, you need rhythm. Some days you'll feel strong, others, not at all. That's okay. Motivation is like the weather. It changes. But rhythm, that's what stays. So don't chase motivation. Build rhythm, even if it's small, even if it's just this. One sentence a day, one voice message, a week one. Note to your future self after every hard moment. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a consistent voice, and that voice is already inside you. Practice emotional English. Journal. Start a new journal. Call it How I Really Feel in English. Each day, write one feeling in English, then write why. I feel tired because I worked so hard and no one said thank you. I feel happy. I saw a flower and remembered I'm still alive. I feel lonely, but I'm learning to be kind to myself. This practice doesn't improve your grammar. It improves your soul. And slowly you will see something magical. Your voice will become a safe place for you and for the person you're becoming. You're not just learning a language, you're learning to love your voice. That's what this journey is really about. Not fluency, not perfection, not being better than others. It's about building a voice you're proud of. A voice you trust. A voice that sounds like home. And that voice? It grows when you speak to your future self with care. Let's pause here again. You've come so far, not just in words, but in who you are becoming. And the next sections will bring everything together. Time will pass. Anyway. So, let your voice travel with it. Let's be honest. Time moves, with or without us. You can stay silent for 5 years, and 5 years will still pass. Or you can speak 1 sentence a day, and let your voice grow quietly as time moves with you. You don't need to rush. You just need to plant 1 small word each day, because 5 years from now, your future self will look back, and they will either hear silence, or they will hear your voice growing. The man who recorded 5 years of English. There was a man who worked as a night guard in a parking lot. Most nights were quiet, no one around, just cars, shadows, and time. He wanted to learn English, but he didn't have books, didn't have courses, didn't have money for a tutor, so he used what he had: his phone, his time, his voice. Every night during his break, he recorded 1 voice message in English, sometimes 1 minute, sometimes just a sentence. He started with, "Today is quiet. I watch cars. I think about future." Then, "I want to learn 10 new words, but I know one today, hope." Then, "I feel better when I speak. I feel like I am someone." He didn't stop. 1 voice message a night for 5 years. He didn't post them, didn't share them, just saved them in a folder called Becoming. And when he reached year 5, he played the first recording again, and he cried, not because the English was perfect, but because he could hear his growth. The fear was gone. The pause was gone. The shame was gone, and in its place was someone who finally trusted his own voice. This is your invitation. Make your voice a timeline. You don't need 5 years. You just need today. Start now. Open a folder. Call it Voice. Timeline. Date each file. Each time you speak, record something for your future self. A dream, a reflection, a message of strength, a note from your tired heart, a hope for tomorrow. One by one, your timeline will grow. And one day, you'll look back and hear it. You'll hear the fear becoming soft, the silence turning into sound, the shy voice becoming steady. Your voice is like water. You don't need to shout. You don't need to push. You don't need to be loud. Your voice is like water, soft, but strong enough to shape mountains if it flows every day. So don't stop speaking, even when it feels small, even when it feels like no one is listening, because someone is, you are, and your future self is. The story of the girl with a slow voice. There was a girl who spoke very slowly. Too slowly, she thought. When she tried to speak English, people would finish her sentences. Some would laugh. Some would walk away. She felt broken. She felt like giving up. Until one day her teacher gave her a new kind of assignment. Record one sentence to your future self every day. But don't rush. Speak as slow as you need. Let the words come from the heart. So she did. I am trying. My voice is slow, but it's mine. Today I said something, and I meant it. At first it was hard, but then she began to love her rhythm. She realized, my English isn't slow, it's thoughtful. And her future self, she didn't want fast, she wanted real. Practice. Your future voice pledge. Here's something powerful to try. Take a moment today and record this sentence. I may not be fluent yet, but I'm speaking, and I'm not going to stop, because I believe in the person I'm becoming. Then save it. Put it at the top of your voice timeline. Call it the day I promised myself. And let that message be your anchor. So when life gets hard, when your confidence shakes, you can press play and remember who you are. Let's pause here. You've done something amazing. You've stayed. You've listened. You've reflected. You've imagined. You've started speaking, not just to learn English, but to build a relationship with your future self. And that is real success. The person who wouldn't stay silent. Let me tell you a final story. Not of someone famous, not of someone powerful, but of someone like you, someone who had a dream, and a voice, and a quiet belief that maybe, just maybe, they could grow. Her name was never printed in a book. She never gave a speech, never stood on a stage, but she did something just as powerful. She made a promise to speak every day, no matter how tired, no matter how unsure, no matter how slow the progress felt. And she kept a small notebook, wrote 3 lines a day, all in English, to her future self, sometimes hopeful. I believe we will laugh without fear one day, sometimes honest. I feel small today, but I still showed up, sometimes quiet. I didn't know what to say, but I said something, and she never missed a day. 1 year later, she opened her notebook again, and on the last page, she wrote this: I don't need to be loud. I just need to be real. And I finally hear myself clearly. She wasn't fluent, but she was free, and that was enough. This can be your story, too. You don't need to wait for permission. You already have what you need. A voice, a story, a reason to grow, and a future worth speaking to. So don't stop now. Let your voice carry you home. Your voice is your light in the dark, your anchor in the storm, your hand on your own back. And when you speak to your future self, you are sending forward something more than just sound. You are sending hope. You are saying, we're still going. We're still trying. We haven't quit. And that message will echo. It will grow. And one day, you'll meet the version of yourself who heard those words and believed them. Try this now. Take one deep breath and repeat each sentence after me, slowly, with care. I forgive myself for not starting sooner. I thank myself for showing up now. I trust the path I am walking. I believe in the person I am becoming. I love my voice, just as it is, and just as it's growing. That's it. That's the blessing. That's the truth. Final message to your future self now. Imagine it's 1 year from today. You've grown. You've spoken more. You've healed more. And your future self is standing in front of you, smiling, ready to say something back. What would they say? Would they thank you? Would they hug you? Would they say, "You did it"? Yes, because you did. You didn't stay silent. You spoke, and you kept speaking, and now you've arrived. This journey was never just about English. It was about finding your voice-building belief, creating emotional fluency, and learning to speak kindly to yourself. You've come far, and your future self is proud. Keep going, keep speaking, and whenever you feel lost, come back here, replay this message, and remember who you are: a speaker, a builder, a dreamer, and someone who speaks forward, not perfectly, but powerfully.